Wicked. Regan Slaymaker for Not Just Boxing, and I have the pleasure to be joined by... No, what's your title, Frank?
Frank Smith.
Frank Smith. Matchroom Boxing's Frank Smith, promoter Frank Smith. I might have to edit that intro. Frank, great fight we have, Galal Yafai versus Francisco Rodriguez on Saturday.
Yeah, real fight, a proper fight, and I think sometimes when you have an opponent like Rodriguez, you don't get the respect, but I think from people within boxing, they know how good Rodriguez is. He's coming to fight. We saw it up there, the confidence he has. He's bringing it. He's not just here for a payday. He believes he can win that fight and set himself up to go and fight for the full world title later this year. But Galal Yafai is a tremendous talent. I think what this fight will bring out is a brawl for however long it lasts.
Definitely. Is it important for Galal? I spoke to him yesterday. I don't think he's thinking this, but is it important for Galal to not? Obviously, he wins this. He's guaranteed that shot at Taraji. Is it important for him to focus on this fight and not kind of what's to come afterwards?
I think he always focuses on what's in front of him. He's not one of those people who's looking 10 steps ahead. He's focused on what the job is at hand, and that job is to deliver a tremendous performance against Rodriguez. He's got to go in there and he's got to get the win, because everything else is irrelevant if he doesn't do that. But as I say, he's a special fighter. When you look at what he's done in his career, where you look at where he's going, there's so much to look forward to with Galal Yafai. And I think you're not going to see a hiccup here, but you're going to see a hard fight.
Definitely, it's a great fight as well. Conor Walker also on the card, defending the British title against Liam Taylor. Obviously, he's on a serious run at the moment. Obviously, all going his way. Again, I feel like I'm going against what I've just said in the previous question, but what kind of fights could we see Conor Walker in? Obviously, we see Turki Al-Sheikh wants the all-action fights. Conor Walker fits that bill quite nicely as well.
Yeah, look, he's obviously had... Think back to that night he had against Crocker as well.
Yeah.
What a fight
in this arena as well.
Yeah. So he has got great opportunities when he fights the way he does, and when he brings the kind of crowd he brings as well. So I think with Conor Walker, it's one step at a time. Look, you got to think after that fight back in that fight we had back in January, where he pulled the win out of the bag. A lot of people have written him off at that point. No one gave him the hope or the chance that he was going to pull that back. So I think everything's a bonus now, and we've got to ensure we deliver the best possible opportunities for him. He's got to get through Liam Taylor. It's going to be a real fight on Saturday, but I'm excited about what the future holds for him. Not really looking at what's next, because it's Saturday night first and foremost, and then we'll figure out what the next steps are.
Definitely a great undercard, a stacked undercard, and also debuts and great prospects on the bill as well. I do want to move over to MSG, your previous show. I've listened. I think you've asked questions about Richards and Hitchens multiple times. Great performance. Well, I don't want to go into that. I want to go into Andy Cruz as well. Mandatory challenger for Raymond Murataya. Could we see him go straight into that, or will he have an interim fight, do you think?
That's what we're trying to do. He wants to go straight into that. He wants the world title. That was always the plan with the team, was to deliver him a world title shot as quickly as possible. When you see the way he came through the opponent last week, he's just a special fighter, Andy Cruz. And there's no point wasting his time in fights that aren't going to push him. And I think that Murataya, a tremendous fighter obviously, but I think Andy Cruz is just too good. And I'm glad we went the route we went, because it's the only way we're going to get him a world title shot is to make him a mandatory, and look how quickly it's been done. The future for Andy Cruz is special. He's going to IBF world champion by the end of this year is the aim, and then look to unify next year.
Definitely. Is that the run from obviously Andy Cruz, like so few fights, but I mean the level's incredible, undisputed in unifications, a back-to-back.
But for these fighters, it does nothing for them slow playing it, where it's like, do you know what, this guy is so special, there's no point like giving him fights that do nothing for his career. Not just nothing for his career, but his ability levels. He's getting nothing out of them. So that's why we always were pushing as hard as and as quickly as possible to get him to those world title shots.
Definitely as well. Jai Opetaia obviously returned the other day against Claudio Square. I feel like no one's really spoken about it, obviously. Talk me through the win, and also, is it the main focus to get that unification for Jai next?
Biggest fights possible. He's another one where he's driven by the biggest fights. And I think he finds it hard to get motivated, as a lot of fighters do in fights where, for him, he feels more of a formality. But every fight you have to be ready, you have to be prepared. But with fighters that are as special as Jai Opetaia, you know, I can understand why it's hard for him to get motivated. And now we got to go and deliver the biggest possible fight, whether that be ZURDO. You know, that's definitely a fight there. Obviously, I think Badou Jack's got a rematch of the opponent from the last time out as a mandatory. But, you know, we've got to deliver the best possible fights. Look, let's talk about him at heavyweight in the future. Let's talk about him, I saw it the other day, of Opetaia against Moses Tilma down the line. You know, what a fight. But he want to clean up at cruiserweight first, and that's the plan.
Definitely. Obviously, there was, I think, some talk is probably more of an MVP side of things, of obviously having ZURDO on Jake Paul's card, trying to get them to a fight. If that is the case, kind of, is it more than likely that Jai moves up or gets a bigger fight? Because obviously, losing a unification to Jake Paul wouldn't be the best thing from a Jai Opetaia perspective either.
But I would get why ZURDO would fight Jake Paul. If it was for a load of money,
agree. Yeah.
Like, if I gave you a load of money to do your job against someone really easy, and you went, "Oh, this is a touch," you'd be jumping in the ring with Jake Paul much quicker than you would against Jai Opetaia. I don't know. I think if we can't get that fight and there's no big names available for him, then a heavyweight move could be interesting. You know, he won't want to stay there forever fighting against fighters that don't get him motivated.
Definitely as well, and obviously there's multiple promotional companies in boxing now. I think their broadcast deals are running out or coming to the end of as well. Does that give, obviously depending on certain contractual situations with fighters, but does that give Matchroom kind of a great chance to sign other like blue chip fighters across the world?
Look, we'll always look when fighters are free and clear and happy to have discussions. We will always look to sign new fighters. There's tremendous talent out there. We're always looking at signing new talent. So yeah, if a fighter's free and clear, happy days.
Definitely. Final two, Frank, two quick ones. Is there any update on the fight between Kieran Conway and George Liddard? I know it was agreed before the last one.
Just finalising details on it now. Looking around October time for that. That'll be next.
Perfect. And Jordan Thompson also back in the ring with Don Charles. I spoke to Don a couple of weeks ago. He says his main target for Jordan is that British title. I mean, when do you think we could see the practitioner of artistic violence back in the ring?
September or October. We got a fight lined up for him, all agreed. So yeah, he'll be back in the ring.
Perfect. Tune in. Frank Smith, always a pleasure.
Thanks
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Mate. Thanks.
Thank you.